What if the one thing you needed to change your life was buried deep inside the one person you hate the most? That's what Tim kept asking himself as he watched the chaos unfold. But let's start at the beginning, where a single moment would change everything for him. One moment that would haunt him for years to come. Weeks had passed since Tim had started his new life. The days had been uneventful, just work and the occasional chat with colleagues. But everything changed one particular evening. As he entered the bar, Tim could hear loud, boisterous voices spilling out from a side room. The unmistakable voice of Hurley, a man Tim hated with every fiber of his being, carried over the noise. Hell, I've been with half a dozen married women the last few months. They're all expletive when it comes down to it. Hurley laughed arrogantly, the kind of laugh that made Tim's blood boil. Tim recognized the crowd around him, laughing along, egging him on as Hurley bragged, oblivious to how annoying he sounded. Tim moved silently toward the entrance of the room, where Hurley was holding court. The moment Tim stepped into the doorway, Hurley's eyes locked on him with a grin that sent a cold chill down Tim's spine. "Well, well, look who it is," Hurley sneered. "How's it going, Timmy? Susie finally kicked your ass out, huh? Couldn't measure up after me, could you?" His laughter was cruel and mocking. Tim didn't flinch. He met Hurley's gaze, unwavering, his voice calm but deadly. "What makes you think any woman would want a piece of expletive like you? A dildo would be a better bet. I heard you can't even get it up half the time." Hurley's face turned a deep shade of red. His eyes bulged in fury. "You little prick! I'll teach you to respect your betters," he roared, charging at Tim with a beer bottle in hand. What happened next was a blur. The bar's patrons barely had time to react. With the speed of a coiled spring, Tim sidestepped Hurley's charge, using his momentum to throw him into a nearby table. The table splintered under Hurley's weight as he hit the floor with a sickening crash. Hurley groaned, struggling to push himself up, the beer bottle now shattered in his hand. His face twisted in fury. "I'll kill you for that," he spat. But it was already too late. Tim was on him in a flash. The room spun as Hurley found himself back on the ground, gasping for breath. The damage was immediate, brutal. Hurley would later be diagnosed with a fractured spine, broken pelvis, ruptured spleen, and significant internal injuries. His once boastful bravado was gone, replaced with pain and helplessness. 911 was called, and within moments, an ambulance and the police arrived. As the paramedics worked on Hurley, the officers spoke to Tim. After a brief investigation, it was clear. Tim had acted in self-defense. No charges would be filed. The noise died down. The hubbub of the police and paramedics faded into the background. Tim didn't feel the satisfaction he thought he would. He didn't feel relief or pride. He simply walked out of the bar, his head clear, his thoughts focused. Tim knew he could have killed Hurley if he'd wanted to. It wasn't a matter of strength or skill. It was a matter of control. And he was proud that he hadn't lost it. Not completely. As he walked home, his mind drifted to darker thoughts. Sometimes, he mused, a little violence was the answer to a problem. But that wasn't the reason he felt uneasy. No, there was something deeper. Something more troubling eating away at him. Months passed, and Tim's business flourished. He had worked tirelessly to build something meaningful. His company had grown from a small startup to a prosperous enterprise, and his team, handpicked for their expertise, was dedicated and loyal. He rewarded them well, treating his clients with respect and always striving to offer the best service possible. But despite all of his success, there was a nagging feeling deep inside. Tim had everything he had ever wanted, a thriving business, respect, and recognition. Yet he wasn't happy. He wasn't content. He couldn't figure out why. Tim refused to face the reason for his discontent. He ignored it, pushed it aside, pretending it didn't exist. There was too much to lose to confront it, too much to risk. Perhaps it was the loss of love, he thought. The love he had once shared with Susie. The love he had pushed away in his pursuit of success. But he would never tell anyone that. It was a wound too deep, a memory too painful to share. It was easier to bury it, to pretend it never happened. And yet, deep inside, the question lingered. What if the key to his happiness was buried within himself, within the very person he had become after all these years of ambition, hurt, and betrayal? The story of Tim isn't just about a man who built a successful business or who fought off an arrogant rival. It's about something deeper, something many of us can relate to. The struggle between success and happiness, the war between control and vulnerability, and the cost of never truly confronting the ghosts of the past. Maybe, just maybe, the one thing Tim needed to find happiness was buried within the very person he feared to confront the most: himself. If you've made it this far, I hope you found something that resonated with you. Life is about choices, about self-discovery, and sometimes it's about recognizing when we've lost something that can't be regained. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It really helps.